Hey everybody, it's Jenny and I am going to share with you today how I am planning this week in my memory planner. You can see I have already printed my photos and I have something exciting to share. I found a happy memory keeping planner in my cabinet of goodies and I'm back to that. I've been missing it so much. I really liked the City Girl planner, but this one is just all my speed. I'm going to use the Cocoa Daisy kits this month, what's left of them. These are my leftovers. I've already made 4 or 5 projects with them, but these are things that I have left over. So I'm just sort of flipping through and pulling out the items that I know that I will use. That pile on the left is things that I won't use. I'm just not interested in. The puffy stickers, I don't like the dimension. The patterned papers, I'm going to use other patterned papers. So that's the thing for that. On the right side, I'm putting down things that I will use. So those stickers, potentially the ink pad, a couple of these 2x3 cards. It doesn't mean I'll for sure use them. It just means that I'm considering using them. I can't even begin to express to you how excited I am to have this happy memory keeping planner back in my stash. It is just, I've been missing the boxes in a major way. So this is really just very, very exciting. So you can see I've also pulled out some stamps because goodness gracious, I do love stamping. And I'm just going through a few of the items. Now, the reason I'm doing this now as opposed to off camera is I want you to see sort of the thought process behind it. The alphabet stickers obviously are great for writing activities or different things that happen during the week. These chipboard stickers, a couple of them are really cute and I can peel the top layer off the back so there's not as much bulk. Those stickers right there have the dates, so I'm going to date this planner with those stickers. Now, obviously the stickers, it's pretty self-explanatory why I'm going to use those. I don't really probably need to tell you all about that. Now, some of the ones that I'm not choosing are just have shapes or things like that that I'm not interested in, and it just doesn't go for this particular week and what I have planned. Now, the 3x4 cards are also great because I can trim those down to fit into the 2x3 boxes. So that's where I have chosen what I've chosen those for. Now I'm going to go ahead and date the planner first across the top. These stickers don't match perfectly with the colors in this planner already. And again, that's kind of a side note for why neutral planners are so great, right? But I don't actually mind the colors together. Like I think they look fine. They don't clash or anything like that. So I've already printed and cut apart the photos, so I'm just going to lay them down on the days where they belong. That doesn't mean that's where they'll stay or where I will adhere them down to, but a rough idea of where they belong in terms of where they occurred. Now, I'm not a stickler for that. I mean, aside from things that, like birthdays, for example, I really want to try to keep a birthday photo on the birthday, but I mean, it's not the end of the world if it moved. And other photos that aren't date specific, I really just don't worry about at all. That a lot of times includes photos of pets or things like that, things around the house, those types of things. It doesn't really matter. It's just more indicative of what happened during that week. So I'm using a Scotch ETG gun. I've talked about this many, many times before, but just in case you haven't heard me talk about it, I like this because the adhesive is really super sturdy. I've been scrapbooking about 20 years now, and not all adhesives are created equal. There are definitely pages in my past where the stuff has fallen off the page, and I don't want that to happen now that I know better. I'm going to punch this one out. I don't need the entire photo. It doesn't really fit when I keep the entire photo. And the circle helps give a little bit of interest to the page as well by changing up the shape. So I think it's just the perfect win-win for punching the photo. And that's a little picture of my dog. It's so cute. And it just goes along with the other photo that I layered it with. Now I can start decorating, and that's what I usually do second is I add my decor. First, in importance is my photos. Secondly, in importance is the decorations. And then thirdly, I add the plans or the activities that we had. If there's room, I'll add journaling, and that's how I sort of level of importance for the week. Now these chipboard stickers are so pretty and I really love them. I just have a hard time using chipboard because it's two-dimensional in my memory planning. However, you can peel that top layer off the back and then it becomes much, much thinner and easier to use in my planner. Now again, I don't want to use it every week or anything, but it's great. So now that's my husband's birthday, so I am layering the numbers 45 eek on top of that circle, and I love the way that that comes together. I know it's a little bit difficult to see on camera, but in real life, because the stickers have a little bit of lift off the page, you can totally see them, and it's really cute. Now, I've also punched out a little piece of cardstock, and I'm actually using the smaller punch because I didn't want it to be huge, because I want it to fit in that area down there in between the two photos. So that's why I used the smaller punch, because I wanted a smaller piece of paper. Now I'm going to layer that with this beautiful little flower and then also these label stickers. I cannot say enough good things about the Cocoa Daisy kits. These die cuts actually aren't even die cuts. They're actually stickers. You peel the backing off and they have adhesive on them already, and it's really sticky and great adhesive. So it's one of the things that makes it really fantastic. I just need to add a little bit of adhesive to this pattern paper, and then I can layer all these things together without touching my adhesive again. So I'm going to place them all together, and I love the end result. It's really, really simple. There's absolutely nothing really pretty super interesting or anything about this, but I think it looks fantastic. So it comes together very, very well. I could write something on that label. I'm just choosing to leave it blank because I like the way that it looks there, but if I needed to notate that, I absolutely could. Now I can also use the punch on these 2x3 or 3x4 cards, excuse me, but I'm just going to use the paper trimmer so then I have a little bit more control over it. So you can see right there, it just still didn't quite work out with the punch because I couldn't get the area punched out without trimming more. So at that point, if I'm going to trim more, I might as well just go ahead and use the paper trimmer, if that makes sense. So I'm trimming it down to 2x3 so that I can use it to fit inside the boxes. Not 100%. Again, of course, we all know that each of the boxes has its own little shape, and sometimes it's a little bit harder to get exact measurements with the paper trimmer, like, I mean, down to the, millimeter or whatever, but it's okay because I don't really care, and I'm going to end up layering all kinds of things together anyway, and it really won't be noticeable in the end. I wanted to use a little bit of patterned paper, and so I just lifted that circle up right behind, and I think it just turned out so well. I also love just that navy blue floral. I think it's just such a deep, beautiful contrast, and I love using it. So now you can see I pulled out the rest of the die cuts, and I want to go through them and see which of the rest of them that I can use to accent on this page. I'm not going to use tabs or things that are really planner related because obviously this is really more of a scrapbook than a planner, but I do love how some of the other pieces still help me decorate really, really well. So now I'm just trying out different combinations. I do like circles layered together, and then using the long strip also is always a favorite of mine. However, I decided that I probably wasn't going to go for that. That wasn't really the look that I was looking for. Again, I'm not really sure in the end that I ever find anything that's perfect. But now that over there, that swag flower with that February Stories card, that looks perfect together, and I just love it. I'm not usually one that is big on stacking things on top of each other. So for example, that 2x3 card with that photo right below, it's not usually my style, but I think it ends up looking great thanks to that swag of florals right there. So now I'm going to add this little sticker die cut right here, and I'm still not sold on it. Like, I put it down, but I'm not 100% sure that I love it there. But sometimes I do that and I just live with it for a little bit while I continue creating. And if it doesn't end up being exactly what I want, I can pull it up later. It's not really usually that hard to do. That's exactly what happened with that February Stories. I just left it there to look at it while I was kind of planning on the other side, and that's how I knew that I was really sold and I liked it a lot. See, I just wasn't sure about this. I wasn't sure when I put it down, and usually that's not my thing. Like, I'm usually pretty committed right away, if that makes sense. Like, I get it if I'm into it. So now that strip, it's kind of the same thing. It just never really works out. I want it to, like, I want that strip to go there, but I never like it. And so I end up pulling it up and not using it, which is completely fine, right? I mean, I don't have to use all of the things just because I sort of set out to in the beginning. So I love in the end, I love the hearts over there on the right side with my photos of my dogs. Now, you'll have to forgive me. My camera shuts off after 30 minutes and I forgot to set a timer to remind myself. So we lost a tiny bit in there, but hardly anything at all. So moving on, I'm beginning to write my plans in there. And you could see for Monday, for example, there wasn't a ton of room. So I'm just overlapping it with the full block right there. It looks great. And I'm just jazzed about that paper anyway. Now on Tuesday, I'm going to write directly on the paper and then I will end up coloring it in as well. But I want to do the brush lettering first before I do that, just so I can make sure it all looks great and fine before I add the color. Now the thin end of the mild liners is honestly perfect for coloring in the alphabets. They look great together. And if you watch any of my planning videos, you know that I love to use the mild liners directly on the page and just get those right down there. Now I try in my memory planner to be a little bit more sparing with this technique since I often use the mild liners to make my journaling lines. So I try not to go too crazy with this, but some weeks it just feels more natural. Now you can look and see this is the testament of old Happy Planner paper quality. It doesn't bleed through. Like those mild liners, I could barely even see that they were there on the back. So I'm really excited to have found some older Happy Planner paper. It just makes me so happy. And I'm really, really glad that I was able to go back and find something that was going to work for all of my techniques because stamping and highlighters are very important to me. Now, speaking of stamping, these lines, I've been really super excited about them all month, but just haven't found a spot for them to be used. And so I am going ahead and using them right here for a little bit. Now I do have a piece of paper behind it so that I can get a better, it feels more comfortable when I'm writing directly on my desk. I just never love how that feels. It's too scratchy or something like that. I don't know. Can anybody relate to that? Anyway, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did over on Monday by layering my activity sticker on top of the decorative element just because there's not a ton of room left otherwise. And so I want to make sure that I'm able to get that, especially because as you can see, that other spot that I did have is also going to be filled up. Now, like I said already, this kit, I have so much of it left over and I've already made like 5 projects. Now, obviously this is different add-ons and stuff too. It's not just like I bought one kit and this is what's left, but I'm really jazzed about that because I loved it and I thought it was so incredibly beautiful. Now you can see still alternating between the highlighter and the stickers to write in those activities. And see, look at that, the pop of color and nothing, you can't see it through the back at all. And the reason I'm showing you that is because we have talked about paper quality a couple of times here, especially in regard to this big Happy Planner. And honestly, it's why wasn't using any other Happy Planners in my layout or in my lineup, was because the paper quality just wasn't something that I could work with. Now I'm pulling out my magnetic mat and ruler so that I can go ahead and add my mild liner lines so that I can journal. And this is exactly what I was talking about, why I try not to do this too much in my memory planner for the plans, because I already do this here. And so that adds that pop of color that I'm looking for. I like to not have the lines all lined up. I think it looks a little bit more whimsical that way and a lot more fun. And that's what my goal is for my pages, is for them to look fun and playful. Everybody's, goal is different. And so that's why I do that. I also think it's just significantly easier as well to do that. So I am really happy with the end result because it still just felt playful and fun and like not too much effort whatsoever. So now I'll just write that in. I still am writing on top of the highlighter. I finally found a pen that I don't have to do that, the Zebra Sarasa pen. However, I prefer the Sarasa in a 1.0 and that does still smear. I tried it in a 0.5 and it was great. It was wonderful, just not quite enough ink. And the 1.0 gives an incredible amount of ink. So obviously it's probably going to smear. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to you. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.